folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man, at your groovy galactic services. How are you all? You'll be doing very well. A big green ogre? Why? Yes, green slime. Made in 1968, released in 1969 to a very unsuspecting world. This American-Japanese co-production, MGM and the Toei Tokyo Studios co-production, a sci-fi epic, a battle beyond the stars, mankind versus green slime, something that this guy definitely loves. So folks, this is the title song to it. This was an era, the end of the 60s. You'd had like the likes of Barbarella, you'd had Planet of the Vampires, Mario Bava, you'd had Moon Zero 2 with the Hammer's sci-fi western epic, which also had a very pop-tastic sort of main title theme. And then you got this. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And yet folks, as bad as this movie is, it is one of those films where, look, this is catastrophically awful. The acting is wooden, the effects are beyond terrible, the script is just abysmal. And yeah, I'm really enjoying the hell out of this. I don't want it to end. It is one of those films. Now, I was asked to review this a short while ago, and I perused my shelves of millions and millions of movies, and I couldn't find it. I've got it somewhere, couldn't find it. And then only the other day, a huge mystery box of goodies turned up from your friend and mine, Astrodyne, and in it was a copy of The Green Slime. Yes! So I thought, here we go. How did he know? How did he know? Anyway, so I've watched it, and yeah, I mean, I've seen it before, obviously, and my appreciation for the film literally knows no bounds, because it is inane and as ridiculous and risible as most of it is. There is an addictive quality to it. The reason being that it's played so remorselessly straight by all of these actors that you're thinking, really? You kept a straight face delivering that line? Looking at that rubbery monster suit coming towards you, waving its tentacles with its one big massive cyclopean eye? Because that, folks, is the green slime. It's wonderful. It's ultra trash, but it's such good fun. So, what is the story of this? Well, in an amazingly sort of prescient screenplay, the story pitches an asteroid is hurtling towards Earth, and it's called Flora. So, you know, preempting Armageddon and the likes of Deep Impact, they realise, right, we're going to have to send a specialised crew out there to go and blow this thing up, put nuclear missiles in there and detonate them and blow it to bits before it hits the air. But in so doing, when they land on there is green slime oozing out of the polystyrene rocks and crevices, little pools of this icky ookiness. So it gets affixed to someone's spacesuit. They go back on the space station, Gamma something or other, and it gets loose. But the thing about the green slime is that it feeds off energy, off electricity, of any kind of form of energy, and it can multiply. If you shoot it, if you stab it, if you try to kill it, it will ooze green slimy blood. And from that sludge of blood, it'll just spawn more of itself. And when it's fully grown, it becomes a shambling monster suit of green with one big cyclops eye and wafty tentacles. And as hokey as that sounds and looks, it looks like something out of early Doctor Who, or even modern Doctor Who, to be honest. It's kind of frightening, especially when you see them en masse, and you get lots and lots of them. This is a film that definitely prefigures, obviously, Armageddon, but also like it captures on the Blob as well. But there's elements that will come into the Thing. There's alien and definitely aliens involved in this. So, as hokey and as bullshittery as this production totally is, indefensibly, it has got a huge influential process which does take place, and definitely does get its tentacles and its little slimy green DNA into many other movies within the genre. So, you know, you've got to give it a lot of credit. And you can't say that that's just happenstance. It's just by accident. No. The film has been widely seen. Mystery Theatre 3000 really played the hell out of it as well. But it played on a lot of drive-in double bills. But it became a bit of a cult item. It's directed by, hang on a moment, Kenji Fukasaku. And these are Kenji Fukasaku and the Toei Tokyo Studios were working a lot with the whole Godzilla run of movies. So their effects look just like that. Their camera work looks just like that. Crash zooms, lots of snap editing, and then long language shots where lots of people are running around and doing stuff in a big crazed mass, and the camera just basically moves through them all. And it's a complete melee of maelstrom bad acting and overacting. It's ripe, it's rampant, it's ridiculous, and yet it's so unbelievably cool as well. So there's the gist of the story. On this space station, they're going to unleash this bloody monster, which is going to reproduce like crazy and storm all over the space station, thereby enforcing a mass evacuation from the place because they cannot contain it. The fight will go beyond the confines of the corridors and the med lab and the engineering section. Yes, think Star Trek, think Nostromo, think everything that you've ever seen in movies and sci-fi movies. All these little areas are all there and all get overrun. Pitch battles take place between the humans and the green slime, and not only indoors but outside. We're going to have a Moonraker style space fight where these guys, the security team armed with laser beams, laser guns and space suits on, are going to go outside and they're going to jet around blasting these things because they're all over the superstructure of this space station. It's wonderful. It's totally wonderful. The effects are beyond cheesy. The effects are very like Thunderbirds, only Thunderbirds is far better, far more accomplished. The space station rocks about. You can see shadows of the camera moving across it. The asteroid itself, Flora, is a great big heaving red mass. It kind of looks like the emblem that they always use for the coronavirus viral bug itself. This sort of congealing mass of horrible pestilence, and it's there. The effects for the green slime in its slimy state are pretty good. It's definitely green slime, and there's a lot of it. And what this green slime does when it's in its full mature form, which is a bipedal, one-eyed, tentacled space sprout, is the best way of describing it. These are savage space sprouts with one eye and wafty arms like that. And inside these suits are Japanese school kids. They're little kids who are in these suits. But when they smash down walls and come through doors and storm down corridors en masse, don't forget in Aliens, there was never more than 6 alien suits on screen. In this, you get more. So there's a full-scale, war between mankind and these sprouts. And they come storming down corridors, and it's like, it actually is bloody creepy. When they set traps for these things and they're looking down these big plastic walled, cardboard sets, and they're shining lights down there to attract these things, and you see the shadows and the tentacles at the end of the corridor coming around the corner. You genuinely get a frisson of, oh no. You also see them lurking within the circuitry, the acres of electronics and circuitry behind the walls of the space station, and these creatures emit this really weird high-pitched squeal. Very accurate. As they're munching on sparks and flashes of power and electricity, they're chewing it up and they're getting stronger because of it. But how they kill people, they electrocute them. So you have lots of victims who are burned to frazzles and they're all scarred, and it's people do die. Quite a lot of people do die actually. One guy gets skittled by a tentacle over the railing, hits the deck, and his head just goes boosh like that. And you just see a big pool of blood where his head once was. And it's kind of, how was this made again? This is rather nasty. It's great good fun, folks. It stars the alarmingly wooden Robert Horton playing Commander Rankin. Commander Rankin has some kind of issue with a prior space mission, and although he's been cleared, because I'm not even sure what the hell, they don't tell you properly what this prior mission was, but obviously deaths ensued in it, and he's become a bit of a black sheep, but he's also the only man capable of destroying this asteroid Flora before it hits the Earth. So he gets sent out there with the shadow attached to him. But people think he's great. He's still a hero. But in charge of the space station itself, Gamma 1, 2, 3, whatever it is, is Vince, Commander Vince, and he's played by one of my absolute favourite B-movie support actors, Richard Jekyll. Richard Jekyll dies in pretty much every film I've ever seen that he's in. And particularly my two favourites, Alzheimer's Raid, the atrociously violent western with Burt Lancaster, where Richard Jekyll plays a US cavalry sergeant who gets killed. But he's also in the great post-Jaws natural horror eco nasty movie Grizzly. Oh yes, and he plays the Richard Dreyfuss, Matt Hooper style guy, the scientist who studies bears and nature, and he's going to come a cropper at the big 18-foot grizzly bear, and he's wonderful in that, and I love him in this. And he was part of this prior mission that Commander Rankin was involved in, and these two have a kind of they were best friends. They both know each other's they know their limits and they can trust each other, but they don't like each other because of what happened. And it involved deaths and a sacrifice, and you killed 10 men to save one man, and what the hell? You don't really know that backstory. But what does mess things around is the two of them are in love with the same girl, who happens to be on this space station. She is, Dr. Lisa Benson, played by Luciana Paluzzi. Now, Luciana Paluzzi, I know I had to write the name down because I would have forgot that anyway. She's in Thunderball. She's the James Bond, Sean Connery Thunderball. She's the one who gets shot in the back while he's dancing with her, and he sits her down and says, look after my friend, she's just dead, And she's beautiful, but she's the doctor on this space station. And this love triangle, the Japanese version trims all that out because it likes to keep it very militaristic. So any element where these two guys are sparring overhead and she's going from one to the other, she's with Vince because Commander Rankin hadn't been on the scene for a long time. He arrives back there, takes charge for this mission to destroy the asteroid, which they do, and then they come back, but they brought the green slime with them, and all hell breaks loose. So the rest of the film has Vince and Rankin fighting against each other, literally in some cases, trying to pull rank on each other. It's my space station, but I'm in charge of this mission. But it's my space station, but I'm in charge of it. And by the way, I love her, but no, she's with me. And you can tell the Japanese didn't like any of that side of it. They pretty much excised all elements of the love triangle. So it is a much tighter movie. The American version, which is what I'm reviewing right now, has all of this stuff. I can't imagine it without that. As cheesy and as really ineptly handled as this love triangle is, it adds a great little distracting element to these screeching, tentacled, blobby glob monsters, these super sprouts. So, the acting we've discovered is already pretty dire. The effects are beyond dire. Honest to God, you used to get free gifts, free toys in packets of cereal boxes. They are infinitely better. You could dangle them on string in front of this camera right now and it'd be more convincing than the effects in this. But it doesn't matter. The suits, the monster suits, as I said before, are creepy as well. This one big gloopy eye, which is all red and yellow lined, and it never seems to blink. Or if it did, I missed it. I must have blinked and missed it. And these flappy tentacles, that creature looks just like the monster in the Space 1999 episode Dragon's Domain, which I reviewed not so long ago. One of the classic horror episodes of Space 1999. It's a tentacled monster, lots of swingy appendages, and one big bloody eye. That's where they got it from. So, as I said before, as cack-handed as this production might seem to be, its influence definitely infiltrated many other movies and TV shows, beyond a doubt. Richard Jekyll, who I adore, I really do, he's having a tough time in this. They've given him a rather ill-fitting blue shirt, which you can quite clearly see he is sweating profusely underneath it. The armpits are gaping, gloopy. Forget the green slime, there's a lot of slime from his armpits. And it's a shame, but it is funny because when you first spot it in one of his first conversations with his rival, his ex-buddy but rival now, Commander Rankin, when he arrives on the space station before they go out on the mission to destroy the asteroid, he says, "Don't worry, we can handle this. No sweat." Actually, I'd beg to differ. There's acres of it underneath there, sir. So, and it goes on like this. You have a really shouty bastard back on the on planet Earth, because it's the UNSC. It's the big organisation. You never find out what that stands for. I'm surmising now, United Nations Space Corps, I think. I don't know. Because they're all Americans except for, Luciana Paluzzi, who plays this sexy doctor. But back on Earth, you have this shouty general-in-chief who's like, his crew always run to help him and all that, and he's forever trying to make radio calls back to the station. And when he first gets Rankin in, at the very start of the movie, to say, look, you've got this mission. You're the only man who can pull this off, so you're going up there. I know Vince is up there, but you two can work together, can't you? And all this. But they get a star map out, and he puts it on the table, and he goes, this is the asteroid, Flora, here. And this is Earth, here, where we are. This is Earth, where we are. Okay, I know there's space stations and there's asteroids and there's obviously space travel. You might forget what planet you happen to be on, but it does seem really, on the nose. This is Earth, where we are. No, you can handle this, can't you? Of course I can. Robert Horton, who was in TV's The Man from Shenandoah. From side profile, he looks like Jack Lord from Hawaii Five-0. He's a spitting image. When he turns sideways, you would swear that was Jack Lord. But he's got no sense of humour whatsoever, and he is so rigid. But he's still likeable. He softens whenever he sees this lady doctor who they both love. And this love triangle thing is so bizarre. She's with Vince. There's a moment when these things are over in the station, and the doctor, the scientist on board, who's worked out that they live on energy. This is what they want. But we can't shoot them. We can't make them bleed because they will multiply. He's already worked it out. They'll multiply out of their own blood pools. They'll create more. So he gets himself stuck in one corridor. When they've all evacuated, he's stuck behind a door. And Rankin's going to sacrifice him, which is harking back to this thing beforehand, which split him and Vince up. But I still can't work out who did the sacrificing of who and who was in the wrong. It doesn't tell you. So Vince goes, no, you can't leave him there, because they're watching on a TV screen, which can pan around and zoom in and can edit whilst they're watching. Yeah, one of those super smart TV screens you have on these surveillance systems. And you can see the doctor's being pursued by all these tentacles. He's going, screaming his head off. And they go, we can't leave him there. We can't open the door because they'll get in. So he's going like, no, don't do it. And Vince, Richard Jekyll, goes, I'm going to open that door. So Rankin pulls one of these plasticky, really bizarre toilet roll ray guns out. He goes, Vince, don't make me do it. So this Dr. Lucy, what's her name again? Lisa Benton, God. This sexy Thunderball girl stands between Rankin and Vince, so he can't shoot him. So she's pledging her love for him. But as the film goes on, she will then go to the other guy, and you're like, oh, come on, you fickle bitch. That is terrible, that. You have a great many scenes of the injured in hospital wards, and lots of talk of quarantine and that. There's a really beautifully inept moment, which I just love. I'm going to paraphrase the dialogue because I have forgotten the line itself. But Rankin, the bastard, goes into the medical ward and everyone's there. They're all swathed in bandages. They've all been electrocuted and shot and hurt and whatever. You know, they're all like, and the nurses, all beautiful, all sexy 60s babes, running around with little charts and lots of beepy noises taking place and soothing people's sweaty brows and all that, holding their hands. We're going to be fine, we're going to be fine. They're not, because all the power's getting drained away and they're all dying anyway. These creatures are everywhere, I mean everywhere. And this Lisa Benton says to Rankin something along the lines of, "Are we going to make it?" And he looks at her and looks around. "Lisa, don't say it in front of all these." And then they move all of 2 feet away from where they were. And she goes again, "Are we going to make it?" And he's like, "I don't think so." Why did you didn't want anyone hearing you there, but you only moved to there, they can still hear you. It's so insane. And these ray guns, all this kind of stuff, when they run out, they're not firing bullets. Don't ray guns recharge themselves? You know, in most other films where they have laser guns and stuff, like, they never seem to run out of charge, do they? You run out of bullets, but these repeatedly run out. So they go, that time-honoured cliche, you run out of bullets, you throw the gun at the enemy. And these guys do it, but rather weirdly, they go, right. And they go, and they stick in these great big rubbery suits, making them bleed and obviously cause more. And these things are shrieking, but they're not even sharp. They've got a stupid fat nozzle ending, and they still manage to skewer these things. It happens a few times. This film is great fun. As I say, the effects will remind you totally, and the model work will remind you totally of Thunderbirds and Jerry Anderson. But they're not on a par. But once you realise that and you get by all this camp, ridiculous, po-faced buffoonery, it all becomes delightfully enjoyable. There's many scenes of all these hospital wards being evacuated when these creatures storm through the walls and they're there and people are like swathed in bandages and they're getting trundled around. Get everybody out now. And everyone's screaming, and these Japanese cameras are like zooming in and flying through all the maelstrom. You're getting dizzy just watching it. Lots of multicoloured psychedelic uniforms, and the security teams have crash helmets on with little chin straps. 60s crash helmets. But it does add to it. It adds so much to it. But these people getting hefted down corridors in their hospital beds, screaming, and all you can see is their eyes and a heavily bandaged arm waggling around, trying to defend themselves. They also drive these cars down these corridors. Now, these cars are the most ridiculous things you've ever seen. And they have heavily armed guards who run beside them. And there's variations on these cars. These cars are little sort of like, you know, the things you'd see in a lot of sort of sci-fi movies, little squat things where you sit in and that. You climb aboard these things and they're huge, they're high, so people like little cranes, little tractor things tumbling down these corridors where they can barely fit down these corridors, and they've got security teams running before and behind them. There's one scene where that scientist gets stuck behind the blast shield and is trapped to die, basically. And they have 2 of these cars collide with each other, rip through the walls, people are getting knocked all around, and it's the camera's going like, "Hey!" And it's just a pure, drunken, chaotic melange of dizzy, crazy stunt work. But it's great at the same time. It's pure helter-skelter. It's damn good fun. The Green Slime is never going to win any awards apart from Razzies, but it's so well worth your time. It's so deliriously, awfully written. And get on this, who wrote it, or who co-wrote the screenplay? Bill Finger. Yes, 'tis his name. A lot of you comic book fans know who that is. Bill Finger co-created Batman. Bob Kane created Batman way back. But it's William Finger, Bill Finger, who said to him, Don't you think this guy should have a civilian alter ego? So the Bruce Wayne alter ego was created by Bill Finger. The Batcave was created by Bill Finger. The Joker, Catwoman, the Riddler were created by Bill Finger. The guy that wrote this movie, Green Slime, created all our favourite elements of Batman. Bill Finger would work on many comic books. He would write, he would ghostwrite for other people. He would also be massively involved in the Adam West Batman TV show. And then all the successive animated TV shows, the Bruce Timm stuff, you know, Batman the Animated Series, Teen Titans, all the Superman, all Justice League, all of the DC stuff, he was massively involved in. And he's the guy that wrote this. That's bizarre, isn't it? Isn't that truly, truly bizarre? Plus you've got this madcap, psychedelic main title song. The Blob had one, of course, Barbarella. And now the guy that wrote the song for this, Charles Fox, I think his name is, also wrote the theme song for Barbarella as well. So he had a bit of a pedigree with this kind of thing already. And it's wacky, you heard it before, it's wacky, it's bizarre. But it just fits that camp OTT nature of a film that just has no holds barred. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The fight that goes outside into space, then they've got to blow up the space station, but Vince has got to go back. Sorry, Commander Rankin goes back because someone's got to trip that detonator. So everyone else is evacuated, but he goes back. And then Vince, his love rival and his best friend come arch enemy, I can't leave him there, goes back as well to help him. And Vince, Richard Jekyll, is sacrificed. So at the end of it, Commander Rankin, in a rare moment of humanity, will say, yes, we're on our way back now. There's many casualties. I want to give Commander Vince, he has got a surname, which I've forgotten what it is. I want to give Commander Vince the highest citation posthumously. And he sort of looks back and just smiles. He was my friend. But really he's thinking, now I'm going to be shagging that girl, the Italian babe. Hey, job's a good one. Mission accomplished. It is unbelievably good fun. It's one of those you just think, did they just say that? Did they just do that? By the way, most of the cast are actually US military personnel who are based in Japan. So all these people that are around the camera are all squaddies, they're all sort of GIs who haven't got a clue what they're supposed to be doing. They all run about excitedly, they look at, consoles and monitors, they put these silly helmets on, bit, 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 with these stupid ray guns. And the spaceships are like wobbling through the sky like Flash Gordon. Oh dear God. And they hit the accelerator and the G-force hits their faces, or rather it doesn't. They just sort of lean back and go with their faces. It is so rich with idiocy that it becomes absolutely adorable in every way. And I do love these monsters. Oh, and by the way, I managed to find one and brought him in for an interview. Here he is now. Here's one of the extras from the Green Slime. There he is, with his one good eye. So tell me, what was it like working with a Japanese and American crew? Sorry, he is part of the Japanese crew and he doesn't speak English. Oh well, that's all gone to pot, hasn't it? Whoop. The Green Slime, folks. It is a cult classic for all the right reasons. It's crap, but it's irresistible crap. It's endlessly enjoyable, so stupidly, shoddily acted and filmed, and these people are taking it so bloody seriously that you just can't help but fall for it. It's got charm in big green gloop all over it. It saturates you. You can't help it. You can't avoid it. You can't escape it. The Green Slime. An absolute ridiculous classic. But, folks, I recommend it wholeheartedly. And it's out on Blu as well. That's what I thought I had. I thought I had the American limited Blu-ray release of it, which came out a few years ago. I thought I had that. I still think I have got that, but I don't know where it is. Anyway, folks, I have been and always shall be Kilt-Man, and a huge fan of all green gloopy things. So please keep it kilted, keep it Celtic, and I'm going to see you all before the next asteroid hits on Earth, you know, where we are, Earth. Green slime. Make time for the green slime.